DisasterWISE, yeah, we'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land and waterways we're all coming from today. We pay respects to the elders past and present. We also honour the deep spiritual, cultural and customary connections to kin and country and extend our respects to all First Nations people present today. I'd like to acknowledge that I live and work on Wurundjeri Woi country and respect the elders past and present. Just a bit of an intro. My name's Monica. I am a knowledge broker for DisasterWISE. And yeah, we'll kind of be going through Mighty Networks platform today. And we just ask everyone to use the chat just to introduce themselves and acknowledge the country they're on. The DisasterWISE Community Network is a community-led learning network seeded by Fire to Flourish, funded by Monash University and the Paul Ramsay Foundation. So our vision is to grow a movement of people who are building disaster resilience through self-determination and community-led action. And our principles are connect, learn and change. We have some connections to some of those principles that will kind of deep dive into the Mighty Networks platform as well that you'll notice. So we just want to reiterate before getting started that this platform is your space. We want to make it yours, community's platform to play around with, participate and engage with however much you'd like. If there what have we got here? Sessions. Oh yeah, if you have any questions, if you can just chuck them in the chat or you can even message admin as well. But for today, maybe it might be easier to message in the chat and we can kind of go through any questions you've got as we go through each section. So the general plan is that I'll just go through different sorts of themes of the Mighty Networks platform, and then there's a chance to kind of ask questions on that specific thing. And yeah, you should have multiple opportunities to kind of check in if there's something that's not quite clear. So let's get started. So we're just going to jump straight into the kind of main sort of dashboard page. I created an account that's just kind of like a test account, so it kind of mocks maybe what you're both looking at and how you use the network platform. So we have like our welcome page. That's usually what comes up when you jump onto the landing page. And then to the right, we have this kind of space over here. So we've got like our profile, a little notification bell for when things pop up, people send messages or notifications for events. We have this little page here for just giving you web chat history. This fun one is inviting people. So this copy link is the thing that you would then share to friends or community members, and they'll have access to this platform and can join and sign up. And then this is something that's popped up today, but I'm not going to delve into it because it's a bit more of like a, I don't know if you guys have had Duolingo before, but you get these like notifications if you've gone on a streak of accessing the platform. So yeah, I mean, if you're into that, go for it. And then we have this, we've got the search bar over here. So the search bar is really handy for a few things, and we'll delve into that too down the track. But down here, we have the whole, can also see who's online. We have a whole sidebar here where all the main pages and places to check out are. So the feed, I'll jump into the feed. The feed is kind of like the everything sort of space. It kind of works a little bit similarly to the discovery page. So you can see kind of what has like been posted or what's been popular with, yeah, events that have been going on, like this event today, people's introductions as well, like if they've joined and shared a little information about them. And then I'll jump to discovery. So discovery kind of works pretty similarly, but it's a bit more specific and provides these top posts members near you. So obviously it can tell who's kind of close-ish to me. Top members. So top members, I think, are categorized based on like people who are actively kind of inviting people into the space and sort of like commenting or liking or yeah, just interacting overall. And then upcoming events work really well as well if you want to kind of get an understanding of what's going on. And then we have our DisasterWISE events, and this is just something we've got to fix, but at the moment it's showing all of the events. So we're going to try and see if we can adjust this, but this is showing all events for everything that we've kind of uploaded, including our own. Okay, and then I'll get into the intro spaces. So I think with the get started here, we have a few things here that are sort of essential in kind of understanding how the space works and like how it can kind of become yours. So we have our welcome page, which gives an overview of what DisasterWISE is, the timeline and progress of the organization. And then we can have, we've got a participation guide, which also shows just a few of like the principles of creating a safe space that's inclusive and respectful for everyone to join. Feel free to have a look through that at your own time, but that's just kind of to ensure that, yeah, we all keep each other safe, make sure that there is like, yeah, a level of care, reciprocal care for all the members involved. And then we've got the discussion page, which is a bit more of like the feed where, I don't know if you guys have Facebook, but it kind of works in like a sharing what's on your mind, like quite similar to how Facebook asks you to post something in the feed. So this is sort of where everyone is like posting, commenting, responding to things, engaging with resources, sharing material, whatever. It's sort of like the main space for conversation and sharing. And just to reiterate, like there are no limitations to what you can post on here. We really encourage everyone to use this as a place to just share what's on your mind, whether it's things that have been going on for you in your community to give a bit of an update, or even just sharing resources or articles, things that, yeah, work or don't work, or yeah, things that are just generally on your mind. Did anyone have any questions about those things, or are happy to jump into the deep dive for Connect? All good? I'm going to assume silence is all good. I'll keep going. Okay, so Connect. We have these three sort of sections here. I'm just going to minimize them so you can see what they look like. Was there? Yeah, cool. Sorry, just catching up on the chat. So Connect, Learn, Change is our key principles that I mentioned earlier. So we've kind of categorized the sidebar and the whole platform basically around these principles. They are developing, and we did only kind of launch this obviously in November timeframe. So we are still kind of gauging whether things are working. So at the end, it would be really great to get some, yeah, advice or any mentions of anything that you think could work a lot better. We're really open to being quite adaptive to using the space for it to work for you. So in the Connect section, we start off, well, all of these sections actually all have a how-to. They're just these little kind of descriptions of what the spaces are, what they offer, and the pages that everyone can access as well. So getting into Connect, we have the get-togethers. So this get-together page is for the monthly events that we host. And at the moment we need to, because we've just gotten together as a working group last week to kind of decide based on survey results about what the future events for this year will look like. So once we get all of those dates aligned, we'll have them all listed here. But we do have one coming up in March, I believe, Scott. So the next one, so there's a few spaces here actually. That's a good example. So I've just jumped onto the Connect like overall space, and it lists all the pages that are in here. And I just want to bring your attention to the book club thing here and the community groups directory here. You can see that they're not actually listed in the sidebar, and that's because I haven't joined those spaces yet. We don't have those automatically for you to join, just because we want to keep things really simple for all the members. And you can join them. We encourage you to join any of the groups that you like. It's just kind of like to get rid of a bit of the mess and keep things clean if you do just want to get purely updates on discussion boards and other things and other parts of the whole network in itself. Because once you join these groups, I'll just show you what it looks like. I think you can view book club anyway if you're not joined. It just means you can't necessarily fully participate in it. Like comment, oh, I think you can. Yeah. Oh, no, see, it'll say start contributing now. So you need to press the join us to then participate in it. And that means that you'll then have notifications come up, and they'll come up in this little sidebar here. And if you've got the mobile app as well, they'll also pop up. So it just depends on whether you want to engage with those spaces. So book club and community groups directory in Connect are the ones that you need to join actively. And then if I go into community groups, just because I've shown you the other two in here, the community groups directory is something that we started quite recently and launched because we wanted to get people to start sharing community groups that they know about. And our sort of vision for this is that it becomes a really beautiful long list of like different kinds of groups. And we have the directory here. And so we'll be updating this, but you can join and add some of these community groups as well. So sharing yours is just can happen in here. So once you've actually joined this group, you'll get a pop-up here, like kind of like the discussion feed where you can share a link, and then we'll kind of put that into the directory and have it connected to country. And so this is kind of what we've started with so far, just to get the ball rolling, but we're kind of encouraging members to sort of engage with this and to, yeah, share their community groups that they know. Did anyone have any questions about Connect before I move on to Learn?
Nope. Thank you.
Good. Cool. So I'll jump into Learn. So at the moment, the same thing as we have the how-to, and then we have resources, story for purpose, and the blog. The resources is a really great space where we have kind of categorized all of the resources that we've collected over the past couple of years from our website, and also just from people sharing different resources through the get-togethers, and also doing a bit of a deep dive ourselves on collecting a lot of these different kinds of knowledge resources. So this is a way in which we've wanted to share these resources in this kind of format category. That's a way to do it, but there are also other ways in which you can search for them yourself. So I'm just going to give an example of how you can use the search bar. So when you type into the search bar and you want to type in a particular theme, you'll see this little drop bar here. At the moment, it's on everything, so it's going to show people who have lived experience with bushfires, and might have that in their description coming up. But for this example, I'm just going to click catalog, and catalog will just mean that it will basically bring all the information from our resource library to, yeah, the front or the top of the search. And then you get all of these wonderful resources that are about bushfires. So that's kind of like a really useful way to navigate the resources in itself. And yeah, I am really personally quite excited about that part of this platform, and like being able to like pick particular themes and sort of, yeah, go on a bit of a deep dive on those topics is a really helpful one. And I will then also go on to the fact that you can share resources, which is super, super valuable and something that we have really wanted to. Yeah, Scott, you've already posted some stuff, which is great. But yeah, so what you do is just jump in here, share a link. You could write a description if you like, but also totally up to you. You can also just share the link and we can transfer it over. But also all of these resources do still pop up in the search bar. So even if we can't necessarily get to uploading as much as we'd like to frequently upload and categorize those shared resources, those resources in the share tab still come up in the search bar when you search, which is really helpful. Yeah, so I'll go to the next space that we've got here. So we've got story for purpose. So Story for Purpose is about a project initiative that we've got going at the moment and is ongoing. So this space kind of just celebrates that and also has all of the community stories that we collected from the community in Malakuta. So they are embedded, which means you can kind of just jump in and watch some of these based on particular themes. I'll jump into the next bit now. So blogs. In the blogs, we have all of our archived blogs, which will be updated with dates to kind of keep you sort of in the know about how recent some of these blogs are. But at the moment, we've just archived all of them, and they're based on guest blogs or community voices, and the general DisasterWISE blogs. But we also encourage that if there are members out there who are interested in doing a guest blog, we definitely are open and would love to hear from you. And you can email us or you can even message us in the admin in Mighty Networks. And yeah, that would be awesome to get some more members out there to be writing some guest blogs. And that's the discovery. So it's just a bit more of like a visual perspective on the blogs, and yeah, a nice way to see it in a different way. Does anyone else have any questions about Learn? That's pretty much all there is for now.
It's all clear to me. Thank
Cool.
you.
Thanks, Kimberly. All right, so I'll jump into change. So this space, this is a developing kind of place. We really do kind of want to see, yeah, more progress in this sort of space as time goes on, but it is developing with our, yeah, community partnerships and collaboration, and I think it will develop and expand over time. But we have 3 spaces at the moment, one of which the call to action is something that we would like to have a better deep dive on. And I'll jump into it, but I won't go too much into it because I think we might be adjusting this a bit to be a bit more of a general push for sharing important information and details about community-led initiatives and community-led projects. So we might be transitioning this down the line to more of like a general discussion part. But yeah, so I wouldn't worry too much about the change section, especially because the other events part is also going to be sort of shifted to a different section. But I mean, this is also pretty important. We have this in the DisasterWISE events at the moment because they've somehow all morphed, but if you want to have another place to have a look at all the other events and also list them, which I didn't delve into too much. Maybe I'll just join this so I can show you. So when you do a join us, you get this little create button, and it means that I can share an event. So if there's something that I think would be really valuable for the community, I can list it here. You just need to make sure that you give really clear like event title and put the correct time frame, and also depending on where you are in the country or the world, maybe put that in the description and explain. I think they've got time zones here. Yeah, so you can set a time zone for that as well. Yeah, so just making sure that you're filling in as much information as possible, so you're giving people as much of the detail as needed. Yeah, so I think that's the main gist of it. Oh, I might just actually say when you want to go to an event, you can actually add it to your calendar. Here we go. So if you click on these three little dots on the side on any of these events, you can say add to calendar, and you can download the file and add it to your calendar, which is really helpful for some people who, yeah, want to have it aligned with their general work calendar or personal calendar. So just a heads up for that one. I think that's it. Did you guys have questions about that? We have a bit more to talk about with some of the other options outside of these pages, but just anything on change or maybe something more on the events.
No, that makes sense, Mon. That's good. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sounds
I agree. It all makes sense. Thank you.
cool. No worries. I the other thing I was going to mention was Um, so we have different sorts of working groups that are developing. At the moment, we just have the get together working groups. So just to explain for those who aren't aware, we have an opportunity for people within the membership, within the organization to come together and yeah, be able to plan for future get-togethers. And I think we've got a link to the working group. I'll just put it in the chat. Um, did that? No, I'll do. There we go. Did that work? Yeah, I think that's there. So you can join the Get Together working group following that link. I think the same is kind of similar to the book club as well. So if you want to join the book club, that kind of, there's a bit more control over like, not control, but collaboration over what resources we might want to shortlist for every 2 months, the voting process, and contributing to voting for the resources that we end up picking. So all of those things are kind of helpful once you join those groups. And you're kind of a bit more like in the know and yeah, can meet new people and collaborate together. Yeah, so I think I feel like we've kind of gone through it and it's 12:30 and I'm like, how did I manage that? Kate, do you think I've missed anything that's been important to touch on?
No, I don't think so, Mon. Maybe Kimberly, you might have some general questions about DisasterWISE or anything else that's sort of coming up for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Did you guys have any questions about like the platform or anything? And I can just touch
Yeah, I
on.
just had one question, which is, I don't know if I missed it, but on the events page,
Yeah.
when you look at like a particular event, can you also coordinate to go with other people? Like, is there a chat there?
Oh, it's a really
Or
good question. There is a chat.
okay, cool. Yeah.
So I think you can actually tag people, which is really useful. So
Mhm.
if I tag myself, I'll come up. Yeah. I can tag myself and then that person can obviously see in the notifications that it's come up.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think there's different ways of doing it. You can also RSVP to these events and you can see who's going. I think we have a pretty similar yeah, if we go into wanted to go into one that we've got like a few more, but I think it might be past events for book club. So if we go into, oh yeah, sorry, I'm just like zooming past it. Yeah, you can see all the RSVPs and sharing. Yeah, you can share the link to people directly. I'm pretty sure even by sharing the link to some of these events, people will have like a direct link to it, but will still have to join Mighty Networks as well. But it will direct them straight to the event once they've joined. Yeah, did that, hopefully that provided some.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very cool feature. I was also just wondering, so I tried to sign up earlier in like preparation for this.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work. So do you know if there's like a bug right now, or whether it was a fault on my end?
Hopefully not. Let me just did we using a specific direct link?
No, I tried to go through the DisasterWISE website.
Maybe try this one
Okay.
that I've just put in for you. So this is a direct.
Okay, yeah, I'll try through
It
that.
might take you to the book club, actually. I'm not sure because I've just done it out of book club. Maybe not.
Yeah, that's grand. I'll just do that after though.
Yeah,
But everything else makes perfect sense, and it's a really useful site. Like, yeah, that seems
Yeah.
great. Because I'm trying to disengage from like social media, so this seems very more purpose driven. So,
Yeah, hopefully that's a bit of yeah, the outputs of it. Like I think that's sort of it sort of has everything that worked, I guess, for the organization and for everyone who wants to choose how in depth they want to kind of get involved and not be as involved. Like I think it's good for the that aspect of like, you know, the commitment doesn't have to be all the time. You can like opt in and opt out as you please. You can engage with different spaces and you can also switch some spaces like yeah, if you want to exit from any of the joined groups, you can. That's really easy to do. Yeah, so I think hopefully it'll be, you know, it's a starting point and happy for any feedback as well, because we're also kind of learning how to navigate through the space. And you know, it does obviously have like its own limitations. I wish it was a lot more colorful and more like visual. That would be like my feedback for Mighty Networks, but it gives a sort of sense that it is like a very Facebook vibe, but without the evil attachment.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think one last question I would have is just from experience, is there ever also like calls for volunteers or any
Yeah.
events like that posted?
Yeah. We don't have like a particular like volunteer direct space, but that's kind of what I was talking about when we were talking about the working groups. So if there's like things that you are interested in for different parts of the organization, like whether it's the get-togethers or book club or yeah, I think even with like resources, we might kind of be working on something a bit more down the line. It really depends on sort of like where your interests lie. And I think our working groups will be developing into other different purposes. But that's kind of a space where we'll be having more volunteers contribute to ideas because we want this to be a community, you know, led space. We want it to be driven by community members. So it is really essential that we get like diverse perspectives and opinions and voices in all of it. So any of the planning stuff going ahead as we kind of develop and become our own independent organization, that'll there'll be a lot more opportunities, I think. But if you just, I don't know, Kate, do you have any other responses to that?
No, I think you answered that beautifully. I just think that, yeah, the more working groups will come as the members start to drive things, and new opportunities will emerge as time goes on, I imagine. But the get-togethers working group, Scott, you might be able to speak to that one about organising like the monthly online.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. So, but that's it. We're planning 2025 effectively around a theme, which we've already workshopped, and some of those are just in time, so we can respond to stuff that happens, and some we'll have on the shelf, so to speak, because every now and then, despite our best preparation, someone might get ill or something comes along and your speaker can't contribute. So we'll have something ready to pop out and rock and roll. And what were the words that Steve came up with, Monica? I meant to write them down. I forgot it, but it's...
I think that if you're referring to what it was like more extremes more often or something.
More extreme, more often. I think that was it. Yeah.
Was the kind of like general, I mean, I think it was touched on that could possibly be a bit of a theme for this year.
Yeah, because we're really seeing that being played out globally at the moment. Even just, I remember while we were having the meeting, we had a tropical cyclone, flooding in Queensland, and bushfires blazing in 2 states all at the same time, with snow forecast the week later or something. So it is. It's more extreme and it's more often. So that's our high level theme for this year.
Yeah. But yeah, the working groups are kind of just to like plan some of those future events and
come up with the ideas.
Organize with community groups and see what they would like to talk about and what they want to touch on based on maybe their experiences happening at the time. But I would say the 2 main active places that people are coming together at the moment is the get together working groups and get together events and the book club. And then kind of going beyond that, we'll kind of keep people up to date with more volunteering opportunities. But yeah, does that all sound good?
Yeah, sounds really good. Thank you so much for the intro. I feel like it was just for me at this point, but
no, it was really
I really appreciate it.
We needed to record it anyway, and we had it planned for last week, and we were just too overburdened with quite a lot of work, and so unfortunately we missed out on having some people who rocked up, and it was very sad. So they we'll have to had to have the recording so we can show them later, so it's all worth it in the end.
Thank you.
No worries. Scott, did you have any questions about the platform, or were you...
No, that's good. Thanks, Mon. There's a few things that I hadn't tinkered with before, so that's good. I've walked away with some new knowledge.
That's good. I'm glad. It's definitely like a bit of a labyrinth.
It is. It's like, a lot like Facebook. The more you look, the more you find.
Yeah, it is. And I think like we were saying before, please feel free to like both of you to just like jump in and write stuff and use the space. Like, I think everyone at the moment is like not quite sure if there are any limitations or if there are parameters around what to post, but there are none. So like we want to see people use it and play around with it and post things that they see that they think will be helpful for community. So that's the driver. Cool.
Everybody, thanks, Mom.
Thanks,
Kate.
Thanks for coming.
Nice to meet you, Kimberly.
Nice to meet you too.
Have a great rest of your Tuesday.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.